So I'm going to be taking these two big beasts out today, the 400 GM, the 70 to 200 GM version 2 with the FX6 and also with the A1 as well. But I'm going to explain why this is probably my most favorite combination out of everything that I've got. The FX3, the 70 to 200, sports, wildlife, B-roll, portraiture, photography, videography. This thing is a beast. Let's get out into the motocross world and just enjoy some of the content that's coming your way. Right, so we're out here filming Taylor. You're listening to me on the ECM B10. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of motorbikes in the background, so you might not be able to hear me, but noise cancelling. Hang on, is noise cancelling on? Just quickly, ECM B10 or B10. This microphone is incredible, but the noise cancelling feature... Noise cancelling is now on, so hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. That should be getting rid of a lot of the background noise and wind noise. We got Taylor here. She's the talent influencer that we're going to be filming today, so enjoy the rest of the content. Okay, so if you've been hiding under a rock for the last couple of years, let's go through some of the specs on the FX3. So the FX3 is a 12 megapixel full frame BSI CMOS sensor. It has the ability to record 4K at 120 frames per second with 10-bit 422 codec and can record 240 frames per second in 1080p. It can also record 4K 16-bit linear RAW externally through the Atomos Ninja 5. Even though it's a phenomenal video camera, it can also do 12 megapixel still images for photography, which can be very handy for content creators who do content creation for online work. All in a total weight of 640 grams for the body only. You know when you have like marshmallows and you just got that white pasty stuff on it and it just gets all over your clothes and you can barely get it off? Anyway, now comes to the point where I've got to justify, why I think the FX3 and this lens is probably one of the best combinations that I actually have used. Now, don't get me wrong, I own the FX6 and I think it's an absolute beast, complete workhorse for TVCs, commercials, documentaries, all those kind of things. There's so many different usages. But pretty much the key differences between the A7S III, the FX3 and the FX6 is the form factor and ergonomics. Now this can be a big differentiating factor and determining factor for someone who actually wants to purchase either one of these three. So the FX3, A7S III and the FX6 pretty much share the same sensor. The internals are just slightly different when it comes to these three different cameras. The FX6 is just a whole nother beast on its own. But when it comes to this, the form factor. It is so light, it is so small, it is so compact, and packs a massive punch when it comes to professional video work. And sure, it can actually do stills. 12 megapixel stills can still be enough for social media content. When it comes to big prints and stuff, that's when you do start to notice that resolution difference. But this lens right here as well, the 70 to 200 GM version 2, it's so much lighter than the previous version, so much faster when it comes to autofocus. The image quality is just second to none. It is so good, and that's why it wears the G Master badge. This thing is an absolute beast. Sure, when it comes to 70 millimeters, it's not that wide. I do prefer something like 30 millimeters when it comes to the wide angle, but hey, that's why you have other lenses to pair with it as well. But there is so many different circumstances where I've actually used this thing and it's just come in absolute clutch. So do you think that is a good combination, or do you think it would work better on the Sony Alpha 1? What do you think? It's $10,000. No, I'm not gonna buy this thing. It's too expensive.
Find me like a video person to come and hang out with me 24/7 to film my life. You've got like a video audience?
Yeah, shit. Pay me enough and yeah, we're sweet.
Yeah. What do I say?
What's your Instagram? What's your name?
See ya. Hi. I'm just vibe. Hi. Just waving to my fans. No, I'm just kidding.
Fans.
I'm Taylor. My Instagram is TaylorEve__. Follow me over there.
Clearly, when it comes to sports and wildlife, this thing is an absolute beast, mainly for that focal range. The 200mm is so good, especially when it comes to that autofocus. It is amazing. Now, the one thing that I do like is the focus hold button. So you can customize these custom buttons. There's 3 of them on the body right here. You can actually press it and make sure that focus point is actually held, or you can just click the autofocus to manual focus button, or switch button. It's more like a switch. It's not a button, but I do this all the time, especially when it comes to that motocross stuff. If I do just need to focus on a particular point, you can just throw it into manual focus and do that. Now, if you do want professional audio to put into the body, you don't just have the 3.5mm audio jack. You can actually have this handle here. It's got the 2 XLR inputs, which gives you a whole bunch of customizability and adjustments on the dials on the side here. And obviously it's integrated into the handle, and that screws directly into the body and pretty much gives you a really nice solid piece. But that's pretty much one of the best things about having this, is that you can take this off and still get audio into this because it has the 3.5 audio jack directly in this. The problem with my FX6, and I know a lot of FX6 owners will still complain about this, and it is a bit of a but you can't actually have any audio inputs if you take the FX6 handle off. That sucks. I don't know what they were thinking. They should have just put at least one 3.5mm audio jack in the body like they did with the FX3. Now we have to talk about that readout. When you are actually doing motocross or super fast sports or wildlife photography, having a fast readout sensor is very, very crucial, because if you are whipping the camera around trying to follow some fast action, you're not going to get some skewed lines. Now, if you are shooting in 100 frames per second, the readout is going to be just a little bit slower because it's got so much processing to do. But at 25 frames per second, this is one of the fastest sensors out there that you can get in a small mirrorless body like this. Now, if you haven't seen my video on the FX3 update, there is a brand new update that Sony allowed me to obviously test out for a few weeks, and it's been absolutely incredible because I'm so used to it with the FX6. Having it in the FX3 is just incredible. I love the smaller screen where it's got all the details and, you know, little bits and pieces, ISO, aperture, shutter speed on the bottom, and then it's not actually on the picture itself. It just makes it so much easier to frame and compose your shot, and you just don't have like distracting numbers on the actual screen itself. Now, if you are putting this into a professional situation, obviously it does have that fan, so it's not going to overheat, and you pretty much shouldn't have any overheating issues in almost any circumstances. Now, these tally lights as well, so that is a great feature to have, and you do have it on the FX6. This one has got a tally light on the front and tally light on the back, so you do actually know that it is recording. You can actually get that red box around the screen. Obviously, if you do have the screen flipped towards you and you're filming yourself, you can see that as well. But the tally light is a really good feature in a small mirrorless body like this, and it's really great for professional cameras. Now we have to talk about OSS. OSS in this is just incredible. This lens performs so well compared to IBIS. If you do just have the Tamron 70-180 and you're relying on the IBIS, it's a whole nother level. Specifically, if you are going to that 180mm, you're going to be noticing a little bit more shakes as opposed to having OSS inside the lens. It makes a massive difference, especially when it pairs with the IBIS. I think the lens takes 3 axes and the IBIS takes care of 2 axes. So it does work with the lens a lot better than it does obviously just having IBIS by itself. And if you are doing sports and wildlife photography, you most likely are going to be putting it onto a tripod and a nice fluid head. That's probably the most best way of doing this. But I was handheld, run and gutting out in the field, and pretty much I needed that IBIS, I needed that OSS to get me some nice stable shots. Shooting in 100 frames per second, I'm gonna be slowing it down, so it's gonna be quite, you know, stable as well. But even if it was too shaky, it wouldn't be too bad, but having micro jitters just doesn't look professional, so this takes out a lot of those micro jitters. So what do you guys think? Is the FX6 and the 70-200 the best hybrid camera you can get right now for photo and video? You know, it probably isn't. The Alpha One is probably the best one you can get right now, but hey, this is like $10,000. I mean, who's got that kind of money to spend? If you are a working professional, the Alpha One might be probably one of the best cameras you can get right now, but this is a brilliant combination and still one of my favorites. It's probably not my absolute favorite, but in a lot of different situations, it certainly is my favorite camera. Form factor, the performance, everything is just incredible on the FX3. What do you guys think? Comment below, let me know what you think. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. That'd be absolutely amazing. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Still yet to do a review on the Alpha One and a whole bunch of other things like that 400 GM 2.8 lens. Gotta do a review on that one, but subscribe, stick with it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's get it.
And I have a dog as well. This is Jagger the Dashie. Follow him on Instagram. We're on our way to getting him some free bickies. We're looking for a collaboration with a dog food company. Nah, that's cute.
Hit her up.
Oh, this is my little baby.
Look at the eyes. Oh. Done.
Moto dog.
That's your biggest fan.
He is my biggest fan.